Hello! Welcome back, everyone. It is episode 2 of the Yellow Magic Hour, our brand new live chat show.
It's not a show.
Are we embracing show? Well, Trevor last week said, why would you not call it a show? And I said, we're not calling it a show because Emily doesn't want to. And then dawned on me that our in-joke was sort of dead. So it's a show now, okay?
Basically, he wants to be Andy Peters. That's his idol in life, and he wants to be Andy
Hurrah!
Peters. So,
I've met Andy Peters. Have I told everyone that?
No, you haven't.
Save that story for another time. It's on the Bay Lily Beltents YouTube channel. So thank you so much for joining us today. We are super excited. We've got some fantastic guests today, as well as always, the amazing Ricky Locke will be joining us. You've got a chat room. Feel free to leave comments. Sorry, you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, and where else are they watching it today?
Periscope.
Yeah, it suddenly dawned on us. Why aren't we using Periscope? Because LinkedIn haven't authorized our LinkedIn Live account yet. So today we are on Periscope, Twitter as well. Hello, Nicola. Welcome to join us. Let's have a look. We can do this. Hi, Nicola. Thank you for joining today. So please do leave some comments. And yeah, we are going to chat to Matt and Kirstie.
Well, technically, we haven't got Matt right now.
I've just seen that pop up. so
we
we need to fill a little bit longer.
We today are going to be talking all about business. Obviously, this is business matters not on the front. We've got 2 amazing guests this week. We're going to be speaking to Matt King from SalesChange, who is awesome when it comes to everything to do with sales and growing business in terms of basically closing the deal. And I think we talked about this on a live yesterday. Sometimes the word sales is a bit of an icky word, and it shouldn't be. And businesses at the end of the day do need to convert sales. And Matt is going to be saying everything that he does with his business and his business coaching in terms of sales coaching. And then after we've spoken to the lovely Matt, we're going to be talking to Kirstie Clowsley. Now, Kirstie is very brave coming on today because she has an incredibly brand new business that hasn't even come to market yet. And basically, we've been working with her for a couple of weeks now, talking about this. And basically, she just needed a massive kick up the bum to go, and you're going to launch.
Yes, she did. So that's why we brought her in.
But what we're going to talk about today is with Kirstie is about how when is early enough to start marketing a business when your business hasn't yet come to market, and what things you can be putting in place to make sure that your audience is already warm before you even go live. Okay,
couple more hellos before we get going. One is the amazing Chris Mooney Learning. We love him. Yes, Chris, it's a show. I can confirm that. And we've got future guest. I'm going to tease this guy, Benjamin Drury, the culture guy.
Yay.
Slight little tease for next week. Next week's is all about, what's it about, Emily?
Well, funny enough, last week was community matters. This week is business matters, and next week is culture matters.
And we got a fab couple of guests lined up next week, and Ben is one of them. And we will let you know who the other one is at the end of today's show. Oh, let's just say hello to Laurie because we love her. Hello. Right. Shall we crack on with it?
Matt, are you in? Let's say
he's back in. And please do comment as we go. Feel free to ask any questions. We will always endeavour to ask them. Right. Let's go.
Hi, Matt. For a second, you scared us because you disappeared, and we thought you'd actually
can you hear me?
It wasn't your deal.
Oh,
maybe.
Matt. Hello, Matt.
Oh, no. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Hello. You don't do this to us. We are live. Oh, you're still frozen.
No, he's moving. He's moving. Keep moving, and then we can know.
Don't do the frozen duck. Anyway, Matt, thank you so much for joining us this week. It's been absolutely.
I'm moving.
Yeah, good. So, Matt, do you want to just introduce yourself and tell us about what you do? And actually, no, backtrack a little bit. First things first, what do you do first thing in the morning when you wake up? This is the question we're asking all of our guests as we meet them every single week. We'd love to know the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning.
So the first thing that I do is I roll out of bed about 5:30 in the morning and then have a cup of coffee, get some trunks on, and then I jump in the sea around 6:30. And I do that probably 4 times a week.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Yes.
Oh.
We live 20 minutes from the sea and it's too far away.
If you check out my Instagram stories, actually.
I have seen them this week, and I did see you bobbing around with your phone, and I was worried that your phone was going to drop in the sea, but then you did spoil
well,
the
I
illusion that
presume
you were
it's
wearing
a waterproof phone.
I appreciate that.
Oh, right, okay.
Anyway, Matt, thank you for joining us. Tell us a bit about what you do and what you do with SalesChange.
Yeah, so SalesChange is a consultants and agency, and basically I am a sales director or sales coach for hire. You can hire me for an hour or a couple of days, or a couple of months or a couple of years even, and I can basically come into your business and do what I do, which is what I've done for the last 10 or 15 years, which is improve sales and improve businesses. I'm just checking you guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Am I very laggy? Because it's very laggy on my end and I can't hear very well.
I think we have a slight
I'm just going to
delay
keep talking. And if
it's like when I used to ring family abroad in 1992. There's a slight delay, but as long as we just leave that gap and try not to overtalk each other like I just did, then I think we'll be okay.
What I'll do, I'll ask a question and I'll smile. And then you can go.
Yeah, and that's not a problem. Not a problem. So yeah, I'm a sales director for hire. That's essentially what I am.
So in terms of SalesChange, because we've been following you for a long time on Instagram now, you have done massive things with your Instagram strategy over the last couple of months. And in terms of being there, being out there, and being really quite bold with your marketing. Do you want to tell us a little bit of your approach to that and why you've decided to go down that route?
Yeah, so the Instagram started. The Instagram started. I was 200 followers on the 26th of April. And I essentially, went into lockdown, I decided, right, that's it. I'm going to double down on creating some content. I was seeing lots of these carousel type posts being created by lots of different creators, and they were having like 1,000 followers a day joining them. So I thought, that can't be that hard. And I'd never started on Photoshop before. I'd never opened Photoshop in my life. And on the 26th of April, I created my first carousel, which took me around 6 hours. And then I've learned mainly about hashtags, about content creation, about engagement, and just building a business. And yeah, so I've grown from 200 followers in April to just over 6,000. I passed over 6,000 yesterday. So it's been, and my brand has evolved throughout that as well. I've sort of, I employed an agency to create a logo for me. I've taken a step back and looked at my branding, looked at the colors, looked at how I present myself online, and then gone from there to really create something which, yeah, I think is special. I like it.
Yeah, it really does make you stand out. And like, it's one of those things that I love carousels and how they work in terms of the fact that you really do capture that moment, and you sit there and it's that engagement level with the scroll through, and you do keep that level of person there for longer to hear your message, rather than seeing that picture going, oh, that might be nice, and forgetting to read the caption. You are encouraged to sit there and read every single word on that carousel. So I'm really keen. So obviously we have Kirstie on today. We're going to be talking to her a little bit later. But in terms of sales, some of the what have you seen over the years, especially with startup businesses? What, in terms of the pitfalls of sales when you're a brand new business, and what things you've seen that people don't necessarily do or should be implementing straight off the bat that they just forget to do? What are the things that you've seen in the past? Smile.
Okay, I think we may have, Matt, put a thumb up if you can hear us. Okay, let's just, so Laurie was just telling us it's a little laggy, but loud and clear, keep going. We've lost Matt. Matt's gone. We don't know where he's gone. We wish him well in life. While we work out what's happened to Matt, this is the excitement from going live, I think it's called. Let's go. We've got Gordon here. I know Gordon is part of the You Are the Media community. We talked about communities last week and knows Matt from that. So hi, Gordon. Thank you for watching today. Benjamin says, nice. What a morning routine for the swimming. I think.
Well, we went to go swimming weekend. Actually, we had a child-free weekend, and then we woke in the morning going, "No, it's really cold."
It is cold. It is. So we didn't do that, but it's one of the. It is on that. You know, when these personal trainers go, "You'll regret it when you don't do it." I regretted not doing it.
So while we're waiting for Matt to maybe join us again, I think let's bring on Ricky. We're not going to do some magic with Ricky. I'll have a conversation with Ricky because Ricky comes from a sales background as well.
Yes, one sec. Here we go. Hey,
Hi,
Ricky.
Sorry, we put you on the spot now, Ricky, but I think
he was eating his toast or something.
Matt, I know that we are going to talk to you about magic in a bit, but as we did last week as well. You have such a wealth of experience in terms of your background, in terms of retail as well. So we will be talking to. Are you kicking him out? I can't see Ricky when you do that.
Okay, sorry.
When you had your sales background, some of the common things in terms of how to sell and the kind of messaging you should do to get that. I think a lot of businesses these days we see do a lot of the social media, they do a lot of the brand awareness, but actually that closing of the deal is something that people forget to do a lot. What would your take be on that? Do you see that a lot?
Yeah. So I guess, so I think the biggest thing for me that I've taken away over the last probably 15 years is that you need to connect with your customers on an emotional level. I think ironically, during the last couple of months in lockdown, I've seen businesses just completely forget that, and it's become a process. And you really have to separate that difference between the process and an emotional connection. You know, you got to make sure that if you're going to get people to buy something into you, then you connect emotionally. So like you were saying with Matt, I'm sure that like him and yourselves as well, people buy into your brand because they buy into you. That's that personal emotion and connection that you connect with. In terms of what you were saying, I definitely think that you have to make great impressions. You've really got to connect with people on that emotional level, buy into that, you know, get your personal brand out there rather than just the faceless kind of corporation. Whenever I was in my retail background, I was always trying to connect with customers as best I can. So, you know, it might just be a case of, hey, how are you? You know, how's your day? And they'd be like, oh, yeah, it's fine, thank you. And they're just not expecting it because they're just expecting, there you go collect that. Order 29, collection point B. See you later. You know, they want it more, you know, and people want to buy stuff. So there's this whole thing. I don't know if you've heard of this, the trust equation. Have you ever heard of this before?
No, I want to hear it now though, Ricky, please.
Brilliant. Okay, so this is really cool. So we used to teach this. This is a great analogy. So it's credibility plus reliability minus self-interest equals trust. So I'll give this to you as a really cool example. If you can think of Johnny Depp right now as Captain Jack from Pirates of the Caribbean for me. You know who he is, yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect. So on a scale of 100%, out of 100%, how credible is Jack Sparrow as a pirate? What would you say? Probably he looks like one. Yeah, he looks like one, sounds like one.
He wouldn't be that trustworthy, would he?
Not really, but here's the idea, right? So as a looking at him, you would think, yeah, he looks like a pirate, he talks like one, he sounds like one. You would probably say 100%, right? So. But then if you do the reliability, how reliable is Jack Sparrow? Yeah, not very. So let's just say 10%. So if we do the maths, 100 plus 10 is 110. Then we minus self-interest. How much self-interest does Jack Sparrow have in himself?
A lot.
Yeah, 100%, right? So if we do the maths, 100 plus 10 is 110, minus 100 equals 10%. Therefore, Emily, Alan, would you trust Jack Sparrow?
No.
Probably not. So that's why I think it's really important that when you're connecting with your customers on an emotional level, you've got to have credibility, you've got to have reliability, and there's got to be a low self-interest. It's not about, obviously, yourself. It's about giving it to other people. So that's probably my takeaway, if that helps out.
That was really good actually. Thank you for sharing that, Ricky, because I've got that with my retail background, there's this amateur psychology, isn't there? There's that actually someone coming into your shop wants to buy. So the fact that you may be nervous about selling doesn't quite meet in the middle, you know. It's and if you think about, we all run businesses, so everyone, Matt is back, he's in the yellow room, we're trying to add him back in a minute. It looks like he's gone al fresco. So you know, everyone who comes to our business at some point is probably looking to possibly buy. So why would we be, you know, scared to sell? Because they're not afraid to buy, you know. And it's just embracing that, and communication is such an important one in all of this, isn't it? Right, Emily and I are going to try and decide without talking to each other what to do right now. So I think we might bring Matt back in for a couple of moments, then we'll bring you back in for magic. But I'm going to answer a question first. Ricky, I'm going to put you back in the yellow room and bring Matt back in. Is that all right? Thank you.
See you in a minute. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Matt's back with us. He looks like he's gone mobile. He is al fresco. Yes,
Hello.
you're right, Matt.
Yes, I'm good. I'm so sorry about that.
Internet
connection. So I've gone.
No one even
mobile.
noticed the inconsistencies in our show. Matt, before we come back to you, I'll ask a couple more questions. Laurie wanted to know who you are on Instagram. It has been answered, but I figured I'd let you do this anyway. Who are you on? Oh no, wrong post. That one. Who are you on Instagram, Matt? Please. Can you hear us?
For me, it's at SalesChange.
At SalesChange. We're still a bit laggy.
SalesChange.
At SalesChange. SalesChange, Laurie. And we have Graham here saying hi. Hi, Graham. I happen to know Graham is a historical retailer as well.
Okay, we're going to forge ahead and see if we can get this going. So what we were talking about before we had a momentary lapse, we're talking about in terms of new businesses and startups who may be approaching their social media strategy is a good example, but actually in terms of their sales, they forget to sell quite a lot. And Ricky sort of filled in some of the gaps a little bit. What are the kind of the common things that you see as a sales coach right now that people maybe forget to do or should be implementing in terms of their social media strategy as a whole as well, but in terms of the actual sales side of it? Come on, Matt.
Come on.
So for people on social media, the issue that I see mainly is that people don't engage enough. So like Alan was saying just then with Ricky, when somebody comes into your shop, you're not just going to sit behind the counter and ignore them. So when people come up and ask you a question about your sales process or your services, engage with them, speak to them, comment back, create conversation, because that's the way that you're going to build your business online. Every single comment on every single one of my posts, I reply back to. And I also ask questions because I want to get a deeper understanding of what my community wants. And I also want to get a deeper understanding of what the audience wants so I can create further content in the future. So it's about just engaging and finding out what your audience or your community wants, because what you perceive to be the pain point or what you perceive to be the issue that you're trying to solve might not actually be what your audience or community needs. It's about just asking those questions and finding out what they want.
No, that's so true. And funnily enough, I've seen a couple of people talking about that this week on social media. And I don't know if we discussed this last week or we've done it on something else, but we've talked about why people don't treat social media exactly like you said, Matt, as their shop. Because if someone walked into your shop, you wouldn't ignore them. So why, when they come into your social media, do you just go, oh, I've got 4 likes today. Fantastic. Where is the engagement? You know, where is the chatting? Understanding what products, you know, if you ran a shop and a client and 10 people came in and asked for an umbrella, you'd start stocking umbrellas possibly. So where's that parallel to social media? No, totally get that. Thank you. Sorry, I just dived on from one. Go on, Emily. Oh, Matt, are you still there? Okay.
Well, we're gonna go back to Ricky for now.
Don't go away, Matt. We're gonna try and get this connection to stabilize. We're gonna bring Ricky in for a bit of magic.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Okay. Right, Matt. We're gonna put you back in the yellow room, but we're gonna bring you back out for the group chat in a bit. All right.
I'm not going anywhere.
Stay safe. We wish you well, and we'll see you in a bit. All right. All right. Ricky Locke, everyone.
Hey.
Hello. How's it going?
Ricky, we've done tell us what you're going to do with us this week.
Yeah, well, I just thought I'd quickly just give a little comment to what Matt was saying, which is something that we've shared before, this whole idea about engagement. How we met was because we started doing little voice memos and little videos on Instagram. And that's something I think that probably Matt will probably share. But I think that if you are on a social media platform, the use of just doing a quick selfie to somebody like we've done, if I get anybody that follows me that's brand new or likes my post on a Friday, I usually just go onto their profile and say, hey, Mary, thank you so much for following me. I'm really pleased that you're loving my content. Thank you so much. And what that does, that just makes them go, oh my God, that's amazing. I feel really, oh my God, he's looking at me. He's talking to me. And it creates that trust, doesn't it? Like, oh my God, this is a person that actually cares about me and therefore may buy something from you in the future. So anyway. Yeah. Sorry,
it's one of the biggest things we teach within the digital circus, actually, is the whole do everything that you're meant to do in terms of algorithms and this process and this workflow, but actually never ever forget to hashtag be social. You have to be social. You have to remember there's a human element to what you're doing. There has to be that you cannot just put it all out there and expect to have that instant return. You have to be social and you have to put that human element into what you're doing.
You do. It's so important. And it's on all platforms. I mean, we favor Instagram as one of ours. And, you know, you've just mentioned that, but it translates to all platforms. You know, whatever you're connecting, there's no reason. Like on YouTube, if people leave us a comment on YouTube, they get a reply. It's personable. They get a yellow heart, obviously, as well. Right, let's see some magic, because I could talk about engaging on Instagram all day. Actually, it is one of ours. We do love it. So
perfect. Well, look, we're talking about engagement, so we're going to have a little bit of engagement right now. We're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to do something slightly different, and this is something that I usually do up close. Now, something that people probably don't know is, as well as being a magician and a hypnotist, I'm also a pickpocket. But unfortunately, in 2020, the pickpocketing business has gone down the hill because I can't touch people anymore. However, I have stole this fork and
the court order, Ricky, don't forget. That's the other reason.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I have stole this fork from downstairs. I don't think Danielle has actually noticed yet. So if she's watching this live, I do apologize. But we're going to try something fun together right now. And this is based on the idea of what Uri Geller used to do. Now, Alan, Emily, do you know what Uri Geller used to do?
Yes. Ben Spoons.
Ben Spoons. So we're going to try this remotely via StreamYard with you both. Now, to make sure that I'm not cheating at all, I will show you that the fork currently has no signatures or anything like that. So I'm going to add something to this so that we know that it is yours and it's special. So, Alan, I'm just going to write your initials. So it's AB, isn't it? Alan Braithwaite.
AB, yeah.
Perfect. And I'll write that on there just so you can see, hopefully, AB.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just now, Emily, could you give me a number, please, between 1 and 100, whatever number you like?
97.
97. Any reason why?
Because it was in my head.
Perfect. And again, there's no way I would have known that. We haven't prearranged this at all, right?
Correct.
Okay. It's a weird 9, but that is a 9. Okay. I couldn't write it on a 4.
And a French
Anyway. Look, here we go. We're going to try something right now. Now, do you know what ESP stands for?
Extrasensory perception.
It does. Fantastic, Alan. So this is what we're going to try and do. Now, you don't look silly at this, I promise, but would you place your fingers out like this for me? Okay, and then place them onto your temples for me like now. Okay, perfect. Now, all I want you to do is, looking at the fork, I want you to try and bend the fork for me. Okay. Now, Alan, don't push too hard, because if you do push too hard, you might have a hernia, and I don't want to be responsible for that. Okay, are you ready? All right, here we go. So, Alan, the idea of this, and Emily, is all you have to do is just push. But imagine really trying to bend. Now, we're going to start with one of the tines for me, okay? Here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So, we're going to rub. And here we go. And stop. Oh, and we have a little tine just starting to bend.
Fork
now,
is down.
You can put your fingers down now because you look silly. Now, do you know how this works?
No.
There's electricity running through the ground. I've just plugged myself in and it runs through my body and touches the floor. Ready? No, not really. That would be too silly. But watch. If we try this instead, you'll see it starting to bend.
Wow.
Now, here's the idea. This looks like it's bending, but it's not really. This is just an optical illusion. Now, just to make sure, we can still see 97 and we can still see AB. But as I go like this, you'll see, if I go like this, can you see that number just coming round a little bit? Just starting to bend?
Yeah.
See that come there? Now, that looks like it's bent round, but this is just an optical illusion. So, Alan, I'd like you to place your hand up in the air like this and say, how for now?
How for now?
Perfect. For anybody who's my age, you might remember that show. But anyway, all I'm going to do is I'm going to twist this round in my hand once, twice, and thrice. There we go. Now, if I lift up, you will now see that inside there,
Bend.
that is now completely bent round. That now, if you remember, Alan, your initials was on one side, and Emily, your 97 was on the other side, and it's now completely bent round.
That is
now at this
amazing.
point, people might think that I've got something up my sleeves, but I haven't. I obviously don't have any sleeves on me. So we're going to try this one more time. Place your fingers out like this and place them onto your temples for me. Are you ready? We're going to do it one more time. And here we go. And stop. Perfect. And we have a completely bent fork. Now, just to make sure, I've not switched anything at all, but you can still see, Alan, I think if I get the right lighting, you can see AB on there.
Yeah.
And 97 is still there.
Yeah.
There we go. And that, sorry, Danielle, but that is a bent fork. And if you let me know your address after this, I will send this to you and you can keep this as a souvenir. And
that is amazing.
There we go.
Everyone show some love for Ricky in the comments, please. Ricky, that was amazing. Can I just say, I'm not sure what I was most impressed by. Obviously, the magic was amazing, but there were some very subtle innuendos in there and a few 90s references. All together made that possibly my favorite magic show you've done.
I love Fred Dinage of the 90s.
Fred Dinage, local legend, Fred Dinage.
He's local to us. He gave me a certificate when I was 12.
Yes.
Wow.
Says, I like this. We've got some love coming in, Ricky. We've got a round of applause from Ice and Lime. We've got, you're going to struggle to eat your spaghetti tonight. Hatchfully yours, love it. Chris Mooney, we all love Chris Mooney.
Thanks, Chris.
round of applause. Brilliant.
Right. Thank you very much, Ricky. We're going to shove you back in the yellow room now.
And we are going to bring on Kirstie from the Juno Way. Thanks, Ricky. See you in a bit. Right. Hello, Kirstie.
Hey.
How did you find the trick?
Yeah, crazy. Don't come round to my house.
No.
Do you think Mark might have a little meltdown if all the cutlery was to be like bent out in place? Yeah. Kirstie, thank you so much for joining us today.
No, have we got another lag? Hold on. No, I think Kirstie was just waiting for you to finish. I don't think that we have another lag. Right, keep going.
So, Kirstie, you're here today to talk about the Juno Way, which is your brand new project, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that actually hasn't yet come to market, has it not?
Nope.
So tell us, what is the Juno Way and why are you doing it?
Okay. Probably easier to start why I'm doing it, to explain what it is. So I discovered hypnobirthing 7 years ago when I was pregnant, and it blew my mind. And it's been kind of 7 years, kind of like niggling away at like how awesome hypnobirthing is, and 7 years worth of frustration hearing other mothers not having the most amazing birthing experience that I had, and there's kind of no reason why they shouldn't have had it. So it's been kind of like 7 years, and I think having been a Slimming Well consultant for the last 6 years, I think it's given me the confidence to actually realize that I can help people. So that is what the Juno Way is. So it's about promoting hypnobirthing and natural birth as the main driver behind the Juno Way.
I love it. So you just mentioned about Slimming Well beforehand. And we followed you for many years on Slimming with Born with Kirstie. And what we love about you with that is the fact that we've seen lots of consultants and things going through the motions of doing their bit to get their members through their groups. But during lockdown, your approach was really, really fabulous. And I've used you actually as a case study for exactly how you should be doing things like Instagram and social media to be engaging with your audience. And that was the fact that you showed up every single day to do 60 seconds of face camera talking to your previous, current and new potential members, didn't you? Talk us through a little bit of that. What did you do every day and why did you do it in that way? What did you find worked for you?
What definitely worked was the first week it was just doing it, just trying it. I didn't really overthink what I was doing. And then what really worked, and I think it was probably following some chats with you, it was about making a plan, and it was about having some kind of structure to what it was. So although to everybody out there, it probably looked like it was just me talking for 60 seconds every day, there was actually a 5-week plan as to what I was talking about. And on a Monday, it would be about planning. Saturday was always about getting up and getting active. And each week had kind of an overriding kind of theme to it. So whilst I could see the structure, actually, if anyone would just dip in at any point, because I don't expect everybody to watch it every day. Some did, my mum. But yeah, no, so it was always something different. And it was about engaging with people. And that's the kind of thing. It was, on purpose, I stood up to do it because I stand up when I'm in a Slimming Well group running it. So I stand up and I was just being me, exactly as I would be in my group, but we were not in group. So we had to do something different. So I was being me, and people were asking questions. They were coming, doing likes. So I sent voice memos, even just, a wave to someone. It doesn't matter what, but that engagement. And yeah, that grew my followers. I haven't really checked. It's about 700, but I mean, I had nothing. I had, I don't know, 20, 30 people. That was it. So
I think for me, there's such some important takeaways from that. We talked last week to Rob from his EMTB Forums YouTube channel, and he was talking about consistency. I just set myself the target to do a video every week. You set yourself the challenge to do a video, 60-second video every day on your Instagram profile. You showed up. you were consistent, you planned it. So, you know, you had that plan that you delivered, and then you engaged in your new followers. And those bits together are so powerful. And, you know, it's really important because so many small businesses who get, and startups like yourself, I know you don't like to be called a startup, you want to be called, not want to be called, you're a movement. I get that. But, you know, it's so important that we put this post out and then that's it. But actually, yeah, where's the next level? Where's the consistency, the structure, the engagement? You know, and that's exactly what you delivered and saw the return from it, which is the most important part.
And I think what really opened my eyes was that whilst doing what I was doing and seeing the immediate return, like, I mean, it was crazy. I thought it would take a little bit of time to grow. It was immediate. Was that there's nobody doing it for something else that I was like incredibly passionate about. So there are people on Instagram and there are people that have written books and there are people that run courses. There was nobody on every single platform doing it. I shouldn't have said that. I feel like now someone's going to go and do it. I'm doing it.
So as you're starting the Juno Way, and I love the fact that on LinkedIn and things, you haven't called yourself the founder, you haven't called yourself the CEO. What you've called yourself is the mother of the Juno Way, and I think that is the most clever thing you could possibly do in terms of putting yourself, as we always talk about, standing out in the crowd and putting yourself as your point of difference. You have gone out there. You can call yourself whatever you are, and you'll be whatever you are. Yeah. You've called yourself the mother, which I think is just, yeah, like I said, kudos to you. I think that's a really, really clever technique of what you've done, whether you realised it or not. High five. When it comes to the Juno Way, because obviously it still hasn't really come to market at the moment, what kind of things have you learned from your Slimming World days that you really think you're going to start to embrace with the Juno Way in terms of marketing and how you will market the Juno Way?
I think the emotional connection is probably the biggest thing, because I look at some Instagram feeds and they're just Canva quotes, you know, that's kind of all it is. And I can't tell who it is or what they're doing. And there might be lovely birth stories, but that's about the client. I don't know who it is. And that's what I think that I've got with the Slimming World Instagram feed. And in the great return, and that's what it's been. It's about me and showing. I suppose it's more than just engagement. It's showing that passion. So I think going out there and saying like why you do it is the biggest thing. And I read a fantastic book. Well, listen, I don't do reading much. By the founder of Tom's Shoes, Blake Migowski. So it was the book was Start Something That Matters, and it really struck a chord. And actually, that's where the whole job title thing, because he is founder of Tom Shoes. I think he's chief shoe giver. So
I have to chip in on this. Sorry, Emily. So I'm loving the whole birthing mother movement, because I used to work for a company called Geek Squad, who anyone knows it. It's quite a largish international USA company. And my job titles were double agent, deputy field marshal, deputy counter of intelligence. And the guy who started the business wasn't a CEO, he was the chief inspector, because he wanted to kind of rob that sort of FBI feel. So having a strong, some may say ridiculous brand, actually is fantastic because it's engaging, it's exciting, it's memorable. It used to make me more excited about going to work.
What was your title when you were in 3 Men and a Marquee?
Oh, so when I first started my first ever business called 3 Men and a Marquee, I wanted to carry this on. Yes, there was an element of I was trying to rebel against corporate life at the time. So I gave myself the job title of head of erections because I owned a marquee company. And that was on my LinkedIn profile. That was if I went to a trade show, would be on my badge. So I'm fully on board with that. I think it's so important to embrace. It's part of your culture. We're talking about culture next week. It's part of your brand. We're talking about brand in 2 weeks. It's so important.
That's it. It's your point of difference, and especially, and that's the joy. That's the joy of having your own business and your own project that you can work on. You can do whatever the hell you like, and no one can tell you differently. So if that's what you want to do, you just roll with it. Absolutely.
Yeah, right. We've got a couple of comments, and then we're going to get everyone in the room. So our very own Ricky, who's in the yellow room, is also watching on Facebook. Thank you, Ricky. He puts, I love wearing Toms, and the idea that they give a pair of shoes to someone in need for every purchase is so amazing. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's so nice and exciting and important when people get on top of that from the beginning of their business. And Mark come in. Mark is part of the Matt King I'm going to say fan club. Just like everyone to know, Matt is back in the yellow room and looking less laggy. He had a banana on his head and he's been doing all sorts of shenanigans. Mark, what have you missed? Well, everything up until 10:30 when you joined us. But yes, we had some lag issues. Matt shared some amazing tidbits. Ricky did a fantastic magic show, and watch it back on replay. Hashtag replay, please, if you're watching it back.
Let's get on in.
Right, let's get everyone in. Okay, let's bring Matt back in. Fingers crossed, everyone. What?
Oh, look, he's moving.
What I like about Matt coming back in, he's on his banana phone, is we've seen you all over the place. For those who can't see the yellow room, Matt's been outside, inside, different offices, in the hallway, on his computer, on his phone. I'm loving the tour of Matt King's world.
I've just been trying to find the perfect signal for you guys. So you can see the yellow shirt and you can see this banana was on a bookshelf behind me so I could reference it, but we just got too far and lagged. So
honestly, someone must be digging up the road. Kirstie said someone's digging up the road on your street today. They must be doing it in your area as well today. But hey, never mind. You're here now. We're talking.
For a minute, I thought we had another lag, but I think it was just a pause in the conversation. Let's keep going. Oh, don't do that to us, Matt.
So, Matt, from your position in terms of where Kirstie's at now, did you hear anything particularly?
I heard the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, good. So in terms of starting a brand new business where Kirstie is at this point, and what would your advice be to Kirstie right now, as pre-starting, pre-launching, what could she be doing now to really get herself out there before she opens the doors?
Make sure that all of your processes, so when you take on your first client, make sure that every single process that you've got is nailed down, because there is nothing worse than taking on a client and then going, well, what do I do next? Because that's the biggest thing that I've struggled with is I've got coaching clients and then suddenly thought, oh, what format is the coaching call going to take? How am I going to then follow up? How am I going to deliver the videos afterwards? How am I going to send the notes? So have everything in place so that when you take your first client, I can see Ricky nodding, but I'm sure people just take magic and go, yeah, that's it. Cool. But when you take your first client, how are you going to take the payment? What's the invoice procedure? All of those stuff behind the scenes, make sure all of that is in place before you take your first client.
The other thing I was going to ask, as a group conversation here, is so when you start, I mean, we start, so we have our other business, Bailey Bell Tents.
Sorry, can I just say, I feel we need to acknowledge what Matt said rather than just go on to another question. Yes, Matt, I totally agree. Right. Okay, Emily, next question. You just sort of went, okay, then next question.
Just giving a lot of time.
No, we're ready. We're good for time. We're good for time.
When you start, so one of the key questions that Kirstie approached us a few weeks ago asking was like, but how soon, if I haven't got the product in place yet, how soon can I go to market? How soon can I start talking about it? And I would like to refer, like, Bailey Bell Tents, which is one of our other businesses we've had it over the years. We started Bailey Bell Tents without actually having a damn tent. We didn't have a single piece of stock in our stock in our container. We didn't have anything at all. What we did have was the idea. We had the brand. We had the thought process, and we had the fact that we had social media at our fingertips to start talking before we. And at the point of getting our first sale was when we started. We had the processes, and yes, we did, Matt. But in terms of actually having the tent, that came well after actually starting the marketing process. I don't think you can start too early because the end product is important. It's absolutely, that's what people are buying from you. But it's what we were discussing before we lost Matt. It's the emotion, it's the connection, it's the conversations we're having, it's that two-way kind of engagement that is so important, because at that point they've already bought into you. The product, although important, is kind of superfluous to everything else, because you have to get them warm and engaged in what you're doing. And it doesn't matter what the product is after that. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5 products down the line. They still want to come to you because you're the expert in what you do. The fact that you're a jolly nice person, Matt, you're a jolly nice person. I love watching your stuff. I always get the value from that. And it's almost like I can sell anything to you. I can sell ice to the Eskimos, that kind of stuff, because you are trying to get that warm feeling around what you do. And I think so with Kirstie, it makes no difference if you're ready to go to market with hitting a birthing sign in January or June next year. It's what you're going to do prior to that. That's really important, to make sure that people know what they're going to expect when they get the service from you.
And it's not about putting people in the top of a funnel or something like that. It's about getting it out there so people can start to understand who you are. Matt, sorry, saw a hand up. Yes. I would also just say, just start, because once you've started, then you know what works and how your message is being delivered. Because I'm sure you've got followers now, but having those followers doesn't necessarily convert into cash sales. So you want to have a way that you can
get your message in just right for the followers that you've got now. So when you multiply that by, let's say, 10 times, you're getting 10 times more sales inquiries. You need to make sure that your messaging and everything that you're doing in terms of how you're trying to sell needs to be on point first.
Yeah, and I think that having the kind of the core belief behind it that actually everyone in the world needs to know about this. Just because I haven't got a product yet doesn't mean that I can't shout about it, because there's also like a time factor when it comes to babies. There's only a certain amount of time. So, you know, there's people that need it now, which they can't hang around and wait until I'm ready to go. So, and I'm more than happy to promote that. And I know that it works. And in the world of Slimming World, it works. If my groups are full, so I actually can't accept any more people, then we tell someone else. And actually that shows you're the person that you actually believe what you're doing. You believe that it's the right thing to do. And I think that gives more than having any great product. So, and Alan and Emily keep reminding me that just do it. Just do it.
We were talking, well, that was last week. That was a key message from last week, episode 1 with Rob and Trevor and Ricky, of course, last week was just do it, you know, definitely.
If you don't mind, because I'm going to mention a few things you've said to me over the weekend that you were a little bit worried because you were slightly cautious about coming on live today.
She looks nervous now.
I know. Yeah. You mentioned also imposter syndrome. Part of the reason that you haven't necessarily started yet is that fear and worry that you're not in the right, you're not doing it because of the imposter syndrome inside yourself. Talk to what is it about that kind of imposter that's keeping you as a blocker right now? What is that for you? I mean, and if you don't want to answer, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, no, I'll answer it for you. So firstly, my imposter is called Esmeralda, if anyone wants to have a word with her. So yeah, I did right at the beginning when I said I wanted to do this, I did a bit of personal development work. And yeah, it kind of showed me that, yeah, you've got all of those, your inner critics. There's always something in the back of your head saying, no, you shouldn't be doing this because, oh, you're not qualified, because you're meant to be a full-time mum and look after your 2 small children. That's your focus. And actually, I can still do that and do this. And hang on, just because I'm not qualified now doesn't mean I can't get qualified. Everyone starts somewhere. So I learned how to have internal conversations with Esmeralda. So yeah, and told her to do one. But no, I mean, she's there for a good reason. Everybody needs to have that imposter because it's your natural instincts of keeping you away from danger. So yeah, I can see Chris commenting on the imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Interestingly, the second you said do one Esmeralda, Chris posted this comment that says do one Esmeralda. So yeah, you've got one.
Yeah.
You've got
and she probably came up this weekend because I didn't have my focus on work and I might have been a little hungover, and that's probably when she's like, oh, swoop right in, you know, when you're feeling a little bit vulnerable. So
I have to say, if we're going to just kind of move into this for a second, I mean, we all have our own things. We all have our own challenges at time. Ours they come about 8-9 o'clock at night. And where we're most tired. It's always when we're most tired. And if we start that, whether we have a bit of imposter syndrome or whatever else is in our heads at that point, we go to bed, don't we? We go to bed because we know in the morning after a good night's sleep, we're going to feel better. And I just wonder how much sometimes is actually just put down to, need a bit more sleep, basically.
And actually, that's where I go back.
I'm not saying you need a bit more sleep. It was just my generalized statement.
We all need a lot more sleep. But going back to Matt, what I've loved in your posts the last couple of weeks, because I have had a bit of a binge-worthy session on all of your content, is amazing. But what I take from you a lot is you're very systematic, which is why you're obviously very good at sales. But in terms of your weekly routine, and I looked at a day in the life of Matt King, and then what your week looks like. That surely has to help in terms of when it comes to imposter syndrome, you kind of you put that back into check, because actually you know what you have to focus on. Your brain has to focus on this task, and this task to get you through that kind of little hurdle, I suppose. Any thoughts?
That's in a perfect world, but I have imposter syndrome as well. So when I jump on Instagram lives or I do Instagram stories or anything like that, I'm constantly thinking, what will this person think of me if they see this story? What will this person think of me if they see this story? But then it's like Kirstie was saying, my ultimate belief is that I want to help people. So how can I help people if I don't show up every day on my stories, if I don't show up on my feed and I don't deliver this information? But yeah, a systematic process. I've done Instagram lives before where I've gone through how I structure everything. And I've got about 4 notepads behind me on my desk, which I could show you if I was on my proper camera. But I've got about 4 or 5 notepads which show exactly what I've got to do today, what I've got to do tomorrow. And I also use, and I don't know if Mark Masters is still watching, but I also use an app called Notion, which literally creates all of my work tasks for me throughout the week. I might do a post on it on Instagram if you follow me.
Yeah, we're going to do at the end. We'll do a where to find you, so you can list that, and when people can do that. Let's. I
was going to Ricky, because you've had quite a change in direction in terms of where you've been in terms of your retail, now going into full-on magic. I mean, have you ever experienced imposter syndrome, having that complete change in direction of what you're doing?
Yeah, so a very similar thing to what Matt and Kirstie was saying there. I had this belief that I had to impress everybody, and I was really worried that if I put stuff out, people wouldn't like it. And I think it was Gary Vee that mentioned, not everyone's going to like you, so just deal with it. And people who will follow you, will stick with you. But something that Kirstie was saying is a really good metaphor from, if you know who Frank I think it's Abagnale, who is the guy from Catch Me If You Can, if you've ever seen that film. Yeah. So when he was originally caught in the 70s or 80s, whenever he was caught, they said, how on earth did you, pose as a pilot and a doctor? And he just said, I was just one chapter ahead of everybody else. He wasn't an expert. He was just one step ahead. And I think like what Kirstie was saying, Matt, you've just got to do it, because I think what happens is you will wait, to be an expert in your field. You could be waiting 50, 60 years, but there'll always be someone below your level that wants to get to your level that you could help out. So for me, I've got a project that I've been procrastinating about, which is a potential digital course or some sort of membership. But I was the same thing as Kirstie, thinking, oh, who's going to buy this from me? I don't know all this. But actually, what I do know in my experience on that bar, there's people under that have no idea how to get there. And this was proven a couple of months ago. I did an Instagram story course. It was just a free course on Zoom. And I was getting comments coming back saying, oh my God, Ricky, I didn't even know you could do this. And all I did was literally just researched everything on YouTube beforehand. All of this information is out there, but people just want that clarity. And what Matt's doing and what Kirstie's doing, it's a figure for someone to say, Kirstie, I absolutely love what you do. I want to follow you. You help me get what I need to do. And that's what it is. So go out there. Absolutely, Kirstie. JFDI or JDI in the polite way, I would say.
No, definitely.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Matt, sorry. 1 second.
Why are you laughing? What was anything actually fun?
The JFDI. I do apologise, Emily. Have I offended you now?
It's just Emily having a moment. I
have them often.
I've got a couple of a question for Matt, if that's all right. Matt, I just want to talk about that. I mean, we've talked about process. I'm a big believer in rhythms and routines and processes. And, when you're not quite sure what to do, he's lagging. When you're not quite sure what to do, when you follow your rhythm and routine and your processes, then what you need to do happens regardless of your mindset or what you're up to. Oh, he's all over the place. Hopefully, put a thumb up, Matt, if you can hear us. So, following that. But what about when you want to grow? What about so that your processes and your rhythms and routines have got you to X spot, and your belief and your and making sure you're just doing it or just blimmin' doing it. What about when you want to go to that next level? When you decide, okay, I want that extra growth now. What's your take or spin or thoughts on that, please?
I think to take it back a step to what Ricky was saying, when you're at that level and people below you are trying to get to that level, you don't know what that level is. You don't know what you don't know. So when I first started, I didn't know how to use Photoshop. So I immediately started researching on the things I needed to do on Photoshop. Then I didn't know how to do hashtags. So I started working on hashtags. If you try and do everything at the same time, it just becomes overwhelming. So take it one stage at a time. And this is what I was saying to Kirstie. Once you've started, then you know that actually this resonated with my audience, and you get the data and the feedback to come back to that. So then actually this isn't working. Let me work on this to go to the next level. Let me work on this to go to the next level, and take it one stage at a time. But yeah, JFDI, as Ricky would say, and then work on it as you go along.
And then that growth becomes more of a natural, organic progression, because you're evolving yourself, you're evolving your skill set, you're evolving your business, and it becomes more natural. Would you say?
And it's also all right to say that you don't know that, because that builds authenticity with your audience. When you say, actually, I don't know how to do hashtags. If you started creating a post on Instagram about how to use hashtags and you didn't know how to use them, you're just going to come across as inauthentic. When I talk about what I do on sales, or what Kirstie does about birthing, or what Ricky does about magic, if we didn't know any of those subjects, but we talked about them, then we just come across as inauthentic, and then people turn off. When you're able to say, actually, I didn't know how to use Premiere Pro about 6 weeks ago. I don't know how to use Premiere Pro. So I started doing a vlog. I started doing a weekly vlog on my YouTube. So in order for me to learn, I just put myself into the process, started, and then went for it.
No, totally get that.
But that's kind of where we come in Yellow Tuxedo as well. We're going back a little bit in terms of imposter syndrome for us. When we started working in this kind of digital marketing field, we'd been spending the best part of a decade banging tents in the ground for Bailey Bell tents and working in outdoor weddings. And
as head of erections, I was banging a lot of tents in.
But that's not to say that everything we haven't done in that decade and previous to that with our corporate jobs before we went to more sort of grassroots jobs, in terms of that, we had so much experience to bring to the field. And actually, and it is that kind of, sometimes you can go and learn it. You can go and do a degree in digital marketing. You can go and do a degree in branding. You can get that marketing handbook 101, and there you go. This is what I deliver. But actually, what's amazing is when you have that more colourful background of what you've done previously to bring to the table. That's where the magic happens, because you bring something completely different to what that person over there has done, because no one can do what you do, and that's what you can sell. And that's what you can package up, is the fact that, I mean, for myself and Alan, you know, husband and wife team working together, we're hoping a little bit of fun, a little bit sort of not so corporate in terms of our approach. That's how we approach our clients as well, and that's how we work with our clients. And yes, Ricky could go and do that next week with another type of business, but he will never be what we do, and it's what people want to buy in with you and your brand.
Wow, that's a classic one, isn't it? You're the best at being you, so you know, just work on being the best version of yourself. So,
but making sure, I think, and actually, yesterday I put a post up on Instagram and a Facebook live yesterday about us selling and putting those targets out there, because we fall foul of it as well. In terms of sales, we do get the engagement and we do make an effort to engage and talk about what we're doing in the week and everything. But sometimes we forget, actually, we should sell some Digital Circus members this week. We should talk to people. We should actually go, we have a product. You need this product. Come talk to us, and let's have a conversation about how we can help you. Let's actually have that.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Digital Circus, because that.
Thanks.
That was unplanned, everyone.
I mean, talk about overwhelm. If someone said, right, you've got to start a business, and you're like, right, website. I joined, I didn't even know what SEO was. Like, and you kept saying it, and I was like feeling like an absolute tool, not being able to.
Don't tell my dad that. My dad tells me off for using the acronym rather than saying it out loud.
I have to scribble it all down. So yeah, but I mean, the Digital Circus. So every like 2 weeks, it's something new, and I couldn't learn over the summer holidays because the children, we were at the beach, so it was that just one thing at a time, you know. And I took YouTube and I had to play around at that for a week, and then it was Instagram, and then did that, and now I'm attempting to build a website. I mean, who knew?
Interestingly, this discussion on the Digital Circus is actually making me nervous, because this is not meant to be about that.
No, but it's not. It's the taking one thing at a time, and I discovered Trello boards, which is just about project management. So it's about taking everything out of my head, because that's what it is at the beginning. It's just complete overwhelm. You've got this amazing idea, and I've got a dream, you know, and the dream ends up, there's a picture behind me, it ends up with me sat on the sofa with Phil and Holly talking about it. Sorry.
Oh, we tell you we met them. It's not about us.
And yeah, but I can't just get there. I've got to put it down, and it is just one thing at a time. I mean, I have got lots of other hats to wear, all at the same time. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kirstie. We've had a few comments. What I'd like to do is bring up a comment and sort of ask one of the guests to have a quick chat about it. So I think this one's great. Ice and Lime Mobile Bar, small steps is great advice, but you need real discipline to stick to it and not try spread yourself thinly. Matt, any thoughts, pearls of wisdom?
Yeah, I do that quite a lot. I spread myself very thin. So I started trying to do a vlog at the same time that I was trying to do a podcast, and I tried to do the Instagram carousels, which take about an hour or two a day. Then I start to try and do engagement. So yeah, having a restricted focus. So I stopped doing the vlog and then doubled down on the podcast, made that a limited project. So it's only 15 episodes long. Once that's ended, then I can refocus on the vlog. But yeah, making sure that you focus your efforts in the right place. But as Kirstie said, when you try all these different things, the YouTube, the Instagram, the LinkedIn, you find what works for you and what makes you, what space you're comfortable in. And when you're comfortable in that space, it doesn't feel like it's hard work.
No, very true. Thank you, Matt. Let's get Oh, this one, this will be good for Ricky. Laurie says, it's such a competitive world. Success has to start with engaging on a human level. I know you're big on behavior and everything else, Ricky. What's your take on thoughts on this for Laurie?
Yeah, 100%. Great comment, Laurie. I think I mentioned this last week. I actually say this in my sales pitch when I meet people at wedding fairs. And it's the quote that Maya Angelou talks about, which is people won't remember what you said. They won't remember what you did, but they will never forget how they make you feel. And that is exactly what I do when I sell to people. I sell to them who I am because they want me at their wedding. The tricks is just the minimal thing. It's that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And for me, like Matt was saying, I have to go back to my purpose of why am I doing what I'm doing? I want to create these memories that will last a lifetime. So totally, it's all about engagement. If you go back to like the 60s or 70s, you would go into a shop and you go, oh, hello there, Mr. Braithwaite. Lovely to see you. How are you? How many times would you do that now if you walked into Asda or Tesco's and they would know your full name? It's gone. So I think you have to really think about what can you do to connect to people on an emotional level. If you're selling or creating content, yeah, be emotional, connect to them.
Brilliant. And thank you for that. Right. Okay. Well, I was going to bring in Ben's comment about Kirstie because I think that will help reinforce Kirstie. Kirstie, Benjamin Drury, the culture guy, is on next week. Kirstie, I think more businesses should be driven like movements like yours, putting good out into the world. So, any thoughts, takes? Anything you'd like to say back?
No, I'm in a position where I'm only going to do something that I actually want to do. And people are only going to buy from people that they believe in. So, yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Excellent. What's that last quote there?
What, that one?
Yeah.
Wessex Spirits, so true about doing one thing at a time. I try to do everything at once, then it all becomes too much, so I do nothing. Great advice. Yeah,
I think that's very true. But at the same time, you just need to get on and, as we say, just do it. Choose something. If you can't do all of the projects at once, that's not a problem. But do something, and chipping away a little bit at a time is better than being stagnant. Because so many times we've spoken to some of our Yellow Tuxedo clients, and they have all of these amazing ideas. I was speaking to someone yesterday about dance, actually, and she's like, I've got all these amazing, but someone else might be doing it. I'm like, yeah, but you're not doing anything right now at all. It's all in your head. When we talk about how you want to show up, you know how you want to show up, but it's the act of actually doing it and showing up is important, because otherwise no one's going to know how much magic you have. I keep saying magic today, or the magic you have inside yourself in terms of what you have to say. And it can be right, it can change. Like Kirstie, you're starting this journey at the moment, you're at very early stages of it, and you're looking at hypnobirthing but who knows, in a couple of years' time, what that might evolve to be something else. And actually is exciting, the fact that you have that control and power to change it as you see things going and how your audience changes as well.
Yes. Right. We need to wrap up, if that's okay. Guys, let's do a round the square of where can we find you, and feel free to share one last pearl of wisdom. So Kirstie, where can we find you? And is there anything else you'd like to add?
So the Juno Way, it's just the Juno Way on all of the things. What is that? YouTube, Insta, LinkedIn, all of them. Just type in the Juno Way and I come up.
Lovely.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Matt, where can we find you, please?
So you can find me at SalesChange on Instagram, Matt King on LinkedIn. My YouTube channel is at SalesChange. I've got a podcast. You can listen to the podcast. Just type in SalesChange into the podcast platform. My latest guest is a former Lieutenant Colonel in the British Army. So, yeah, you can find me all there. Or saleschange.co.uk. There you go.
Brilliant. Thank you. And in comments beneath, I have to hasten to add. And Ricky, where can we find you? Because we love you so much. We want more.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's all under Ricky Locke Magic. I'm also on LinkedIn as well. Shameless plug. This wasn't here on purpose, but you can follow Unlocked, the podcast. So it's all about business and success. So, yeah, follow me on there. That's pretty much where I hang out. So, yeah, thank you. Cool. Thanks again, Alan and Emily.
Thanks, guys. Right, we're going to put you all back in the yellow room. Feel free to hang around for post-show chinwag. And Emily, yeah, let's wrap up and finish the show.
Thank you so much to everyone who joined us today. And apologies for our slight technical hitch in the middle, but hopefully we came around the other side of it.
I think we did.
Next week, I'm really excited by next week's episode, actually, because we have got two amazing guys coming to join us. We have the lovely Ben, who we talked about a few times today about the culture guy, and we have Mike
from Sport 101.
Sport-
How can you forget Mike?
I've known Mike for years.
I know.
And we're talking next week all about culture and how business culture is so vital. And everything we said in the last couple of weeks, it kind of all ties together. And as Adam always says, it's a bit like a Harry Potter episode. You know, all those books tie in as one big story, but you can watch them all individually. They all make sense. We're really excited to talk about Mike, because Mike is the founder of a hockey business, and he has loads of academies all across the UK. And we talk about how he has developed the team culture across the UK in terms of hockey. And obviously then we have the amazing Ben talking about the God, don't do that. He's cut me off.
I'll tell everyone why now we're over. We needed to keep it under an hour for repurposing reasons. And I've been trying to get Emily to stop.
Okay, bye.
Right. We will see you all next week. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.